Hello and welcome to Ryno's Orioles Report. 4-game series with Toronto Blue Jays in Toronto went very well, though the Orioles did not sweep the Blue Jays. They had a real shot to sweep. But even you know that there is still a 3-game series with the Blue Jays in Baltimore later this year, the Orioles have clinched the win over this season-long series. And other news, at the trade deadline, the Orioles acquired starting pitcher Jack Flaherty, who did pitch the last game of the series. Let's get right into it. Game 1 here, Orioles won 4-2. This game saw Henderson hitting a home run. As you can see, Henderson continues to hit second with Rutschman leading off. Rutschman over. Henderson did go 1 for 3 with a walk, home run. Santander walked once, hit once, and 3 total at-bats. Ryno continues to look real good in that cleanup spot. 2 for 4. No RBIs, but did score a run because Ryan Mountcastle. Now, if you are an Orioles fan, you know Ryan Mountcastle loves hitting the Blue Jays. And he got, 18 hits in this series. Yes, it's a 4-game series, so did have a little extra time. But as you can see, Mountcastle, 2 for 3, 3 RBIs. Frazier got a hit. Hayes and Cowser did not. Happens. It does. Teo finally got on base. And then stole the base, but then also got caught stealing as well. Mountcastle 2 doubles, Santander 1 double, and as I mentioned, Henderson the home run. Kyle Gibson got the start in this one. He went 6 innings, only gave up 4 hits, 1 run, 2 walks. Very good. 5 strikeouts. Danny Coulomb came in the 7th inning. Didn't give up a hit, a run. Did give up 1 walk. Struck out 2. Cano still seems to have few bad outings here and there. Don't know whether it's arm fatigue or it's because he added the slider. One of those is probably why his arm slide is dropping a little bit and not getting on top of that sinker as well. As you can see, Cano only went 1/3 of an inning, gave up a hit, a run, 2 walks. So, called on Felix Bautista to get a 5-out save. He did walk 2, struck out 3, but didn't give up a hit or a run. Some of that is why he didn't give up a run is because Austin Hayes made a ridiculous diving catch. And I mean ridiculous. Probably it's got to be up there for catches of the year in Major League Baseball, I think. But we'll see those awards in a few more months. Second game, a little bit of a laugher. 13-3, Orioles over the Blue Jays. 16 hits in this one. Rutschman leading off, 2 for 4 with an RBI and a walk. Ken did come in as a defensive replacement late in the game. Did not get an at-bat. Mountcastle moved up to the 2 spot. This was because, lefty. So Henderson dropped down a little bit, if at all, 5th. And righties moved up more to the top, like, say, Mountcastle, who loves hitting against the Blue Jays. As you can see, 3 for 4 with a walk, 2 RBIs, 3 runs scored. Santander. Was this a grand slam? Yeah, pretty sure this was a grand slam. But he did also go 3 for 4, 4 RBIs, a walk, and a run scored. Cowser, defensive replacement. Hayes, surprisingly, the only one that played the whole game, didn't get a hit. Happens, I guess. Did walk once. You got an offer. Stupid bugs. Henderson, even facing the lefty for a majority of the game, 3 for 5 with 4 RBIs, 2 runs scored. Westberg, 2 hits, 2 for 5. Arias may see an uptick in his playing time, hopefully, but he's not hitting right now. Some of it, I think, is because of lack of repetition, but he's also really not hitting. McKenna, 1 for 4, 2 RBIs. Nice to see McKenna get in there and get some starts and get some at-bats. Mateo in the lineup starting again, 1 for 4 with a walk. So that's nice. Let's see, Mountcastle, 2 doubles. Arias and Rutschman also with doubles. Santander and Henderson. Henderson off of Ryu. So, lefty home run. Nice to see that some of these young left-handers do get in there against lefty starting pitchers. Because, yes, the stereotype is left-handed bats going to have a hard time hitting left-handed pitchers, but they never see them, then of course they're going to have trouble. Mateo, another stolen base. How Bradish got to start in this one, went 7 innings. Very good series from the Baltimore Orioles as far as starting pitching goes. Real good. I think the worst one was Rodriguez, which I'll get to next, and it wasn't even that bad of an outing. Bradish, 7 innings, gave up 4 hits, 3 runs, and 1 walk. Which isn't terrible. I mean, you got a whip under 1. Yeah, he did give up the 3 runs, but did give up 2 home runs, 1 to Belt, 1 to Jansen. 7 strikeouts. Pitches were working real nice for him that day. Cianel Perez pitched 2/3 of an inning in relief of Bradish. Gave up 1 hit, did strike out 2. So, very good to see. And with the big lead, Joey Crable rejoining the team, 1 for 1. Remember, actually, Joey Crable took Tyler Wells' spot. Joey Crable, 1 1/3 of an inning. No hits, no runs, no walks. So, very good to see that. Struck out 2. This was the only game that the Blue Jays won. Or more, if you saw the game, you know it was really a game that the Orioles lost. Yeah, Rutschman still leading off. See, DH, not catcher this time. Would kind of like to see him get a full day off, but however. 2 for 4 and an RBI. Mountcastle. Only 2 official at-bats. That's because they walked him twice. There. I think I got him that time. 2 for 2. Didn't drive anybody in. Didn't score any runs. Santander, over. Hayes finally gets a hit. 1 for 4. Henderson, over. Westberg, 1 for 4. McCann, 1 for 4. Everybody else over. McKenna. Frazier pinch hit late, didn't get a hit. Mateo, over. O'Hearn also pinch hit late, over. Just couldn't get anything offensively going. other than Mountcastle. McCann did get a double. Seen McCann be a little aggressive on the base paths. He stole a base last series, had an awkward slide. Well, he stretched the single into a double. Another awkward slide, but he made it. Mountcastle actually got a stolen base. Westberg was picked off to end the game. Which, honestly, I thought it was a balk. To me, it looked like the pitcher picked up his left leg, his front leg first, and maybe more of a twitch. There was a twitch in his left leg so he could get himself moving in the direction he wanted to, and then he stepped off the back of the rubber with his right foot. To me, that's a balk. But, however, Grayson Rodriguez got the start in this one. He went 5 2/3. Really a well-pitched 5 2/3 in. Great. 5 2/3 inning, he pitched great. Trying to get that third out of this 6th inning is kind of when things went bad. He only gave up 2 hits. I mean, 2 hits is great. 3 runs, not wonderful, but none of them were home runs, so there's that. Struck out 6. And this is where things started to unravel, where Rodriguez was trying to get that third out in the 6th inning. Ended up walking 2. He walked Belt, and who was after Belt? Was it Guerrero? Yeah, Guerrero. That sounds about right, I think. Pretty sure it was Belt and then Guerrero. But it doesn't really matter because you bring in Fujinami. You can see he only pitches 1/3 of an inning. He allowed a run because, and this is why I say it was really the Orioles lost the game, because, like I said, Grayson Rodriguez Rodriguez walked the last 2 batters he faced, so man on first and second. Well, then Fujinami starts walking people. Walked 1 and then hit 2. Right? It should be in here somewhere. Chapman and Jansen, he hit. So they walked the bases loaded between Rodriguez and Fujinami, and then Fujinami hits 2. Yeah. And then finally get that ground ball to try to get out of an inning, right to Mateo, and he boots it. Yeah. Did finally end up getting out of the inning, but damage was already done to themselves. Cole Irvin finished out the game, saving the bullpen because they were on the road and they lost. Saved the bullpen 1 inning, which is good. But Cole Irvin really saved the bullpen because he pitched 2 great innings, only gave up 1 hit, didn't give up a run or a walk, and he struck out 2. So while, yes, in this game, we'll start out with Jack Flaherty. I was kind of thinking that the Orioles weren't going to make a move because I thought Irvin would be okay to take Tyler Wells' spot. Michael Eyes didn't think so. He gave up 3 prospects, which is fine. I mean, nobody was too big of a name as far as prospect goes, so I think it's okay. Jack Flaherty, it's a nice pitcher, but it does appear that he may be a rental. This is his contract year, so we'll see if the Orioles re-sign him. It would be nice if they did, but we'll have to see. Flaherty goes 6 strong innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. It's really nice that at one point in the game, Flaherty gets into trouble. And I want to say it was either the 5th or the 6th inning, I can't remember. He had men on in scoring position with only 1 out, I think. And he got the strikeouts to get out of the jam. So yes, he allowed himself to get into the jam, but then he got out of it. He showed you the moxie and the caliber pitcher he is. And I guess I got to give props to Brandon Hyde, because usually when one of his pitchers gets into trouble, that around that time, around that 5-inning pitched mark, he does want to go to the bullpen. They start allowing runners to get on, he wants to pull them pretty quick. So I'm glad he left Flaherty in. Flaherty, I think he's a relatively young pitcher, but that's just me. Maybe because he spent a lot of time in the National League Central, where I don't see much of him. It is part of progression as a starting pitcher, learning how to get yourself out of a jam instead of just being taken out. And also, Brandon Hyde now knows that Flaherty has the ability to do that. Coulomb comes in for the 7th inning, pitches 1 complete inning, and Hyde even mentioned that later in the game, in the post-game press conference, giving relief pitchers an appearance with nobody on, or at least a fresh inning that's really theirs. Coulomb pitched the 7th, didn't give up a hit, a run, or a walk, and struck out 2. Definitely going to need Coulomb going forward, because how did they make room for Jack Flaherty? Brian Baker was sent down. It's somewhat disappointing. I've seen a lot of good innings out of Brian Baker, but at the same time, you do get him a little bit of rest, and you see what Joey Crable can do. Cano pitched the 8th inning. Didn't appear to have any trouble this time. So it's kind of tough to say what it is with Cano. Goes the full 8th inning, doesn't give up a hit, a run, or a walk, which is great. Struck out 1. Baumann got the 9th inning, gave up 1 hit, but didn't give up a run or a walk, and struck out 1. But you can see, and even with Grayson Rodriguez, it was still a well-pitched series by all 4 starters. Yes, the 3rd game didn't go that well, but it was Brandon Belt and Guerrero that Rodriguez walked. So it's not like he walked some bottom of the lineup guy. Proven hitters and savvy veterans are some of the words I would describe the 2 of these hitters. You can see the offense came back to life as the Orioles won 6-1. Rutschman back in there at catcher after getting the DH the day before. So McCann caught Rodriguez. It's good to get experience in that. I know Rodriguez has a lot of experience with Rutschman catching him, so get the other guy too. 2 for 4 in RBI. Henderson 1 for 5. Santander with an offer. O'Hearn got a hit. Cowser pinch hitting late in the game, does get a hit. Mountcastle finishes off the series in Toronto 4-4. I don't know. I mean, they've asked him a lot of times in these post-game interviews. He didn't really want to talk about it, but I don't know, man. It's something about. I wonder if he may be slightly colorblind and he sees the color blue as the color red and acts like a bull. Probably the only way to describe it, I guess. Frazier 2-4 with an RBI. Hayes 4-5 with 2 RBIs. Nice to see Hayes hitting again. Arias 0-, McKenna 0-. Arias did walk 3 times though. No stolen bases. Really not having too much running around on the base paths, especially with Mateo not hitting and Mullins on the IL. Hayes, Cowser with doubles. Alright, so 3-1 in that series. Let's check out the standings. The Orioles did gain a half a game on the Rays. How exactly? I think most likely the Rays had Thursday off. Pretty sure. And you can see Orioles are at 67 wins with the Rays at 66. Up in the win column by 4 wins? 4 wins over the Texas Rangers for the number 1 seed in the American League. Long road ahead of us as the Rangers picked up Scherzer and the Astros picked up Verlander. So we'll see who's starting pitcher. What's the best, I guess, between Jack Flaherty and Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander. We'll see who got the better deal in the months to come. Starting tonight, Friday, 3-game series with the Mets in Camden Yards. Friday and Saturday is scheduled for 7, and Sunday is scheduled for 1:30. Not too much out there as far as news, as far as me looking up an article. The big notes for this series was Mountcastle continues to hit everything the Blue Jays throw at him, and Jack Flaherty acquired at the trade deadline. Brian Baker sent to the minor leagues, and Flaherty has already pitched. 1 game, looks great. Is the first instance, and it was, let's say, it was a day game after a night game of a 4-game series. Last game of a 4-game series, that was a day game. 3 night games before. Want to lower my expectations. Flaherty does look really good. He does look like he controls his pitches very well. And he does look like he has some mental ability to get himself out of a jam. But again, day game after night games are somewhat tricky. At least, as catchers go, usually the same catcher does not start both games. Why? Because it can be taxing. 4th game of a 4-game set. Is it possible the Blue Jay hitters were a little tired? It's possible. So, just have to see how great Flaherty looks in his next outing. Hopefully, will look really nice. Because it looks like it might be Wednesday against the Astros. Again, with Verlander coming into town. I don't know if he'll pitch yet, but we'll see. Tough competition between these Texas teams. That's going to do it for this week. Stay tuned Monday for my recap of the Mets series. Be sure to like and subscribe. I am the Angry Ryno, and this is Birdland.